What's going on, Jose?
What's up, buddy?
How you been?
I just seen this post on Instagram. What
Jay,
is this all about?
it's Jay and I. I forgot to post it.
You did, well, you didn't forget today.
No, I had all these photos. It was like we didn't really talk about it the last podcast, but so much went on that week that was like impossible to post everything of everyone that was here. I took photos with people, got videos of people working out, had people signing the pro wall, but it was like overload. And part of me just wanted to like enjoy the moment as well, and
Yeah,
not be
yeah.
about like, this is going to be a post, that's going to be a post. Like when Jay's in your gym, you just hang out with Jay, right? It's not about, oh my God, I need to take a pic with Jay now and post it right away.
Right. You certainly got enough pictures posted of hers. Is there a
Yeah.
little crush? Are you into the younger kids or what?
That was earlier in the week. That was like Wednesday. By the time Friday came around when Jay was in, I didn't post much anymore.
So Nate, we the last time we were here, which seems like forever ago, we keep taking these long breaks because life gets in the way, but we managed to do the breakdown of the Boston Pro and all the wonderful things that happened then, but we did not get a chance to discuss the gym. So this is something we should really do, especially after it's been open a month now and things have been going great. So let's talk about exactly what the gym is, what the business is. Tell people how you came up with the idea and what's going on.
Yeah, so I'll start with the how I came up with the idea. The necessity of it came up during COVID when I was working as a trainer and we had no gyms to train in, right? To make a living in. And so I'm in downtown Boston, all the commercial gyms were closed, all of the like the high-rise building that I was living in where I could train people out of that gym was closed. And I found a little hole in the wall, 200 square foot room that a trainer had open for a few years prior to COVID. Some guy left Equinox, started a little studio, put some dumbbells, put a little foldable squat rack in it. And I rented that. And that thing kept me afloat all during COVID just to train clients. And then it started catching on to other trainers. And I noticed like, man, it's getting harder and harder to find times. And I'm seeing all these trainers I knew from Equinox and Boston Sports Club. And there's going to be out of spots here. And I also think all of these trainers that are from Equinox, Boston Sports Club that are training in this studio are not going to go back to their corporate gym. They, how can you go from the gym taking 70% of what a client pays, say a client pays $100, you make 30, to now the client gives you $100. Like, how are you ever going to go back to 30? So I was initially looking for a spot to just do four private studios, 4 trainers per hour could train. And fast forward in the hunt of looking for that, we stumbled across a space much larger, 7,000 square feet. And then it became, well, we're not going to have 15 private rooms because we don't know if there's a market for it. So, how you and I train, if I had to, I could train in those studios. Obviously, we both could, but it's not ideal. It's not what we do. It's not what we enjoy. And so I started thinking, oh, what if we put an open gym as well as these rooms? And again, at that time, the concept was only to service independent trainers. So we had like, I don't know, between 3,000 or 4,000 square feet, maybe a 4,000 square foot room, somewhere around there, to use as an open gym, and then 3 studios, and then showers, changing room, bathrooms, all that stuff. And then when the gym came about, it was like, initially, yeah, we'll just have equipment in there. So open gym. But then I started thinking about it, and we're making these drives to General Fitness, hour and a half south to train legs because of the machines, going out to Impact Fitness because of the equipment. Like, man, why don't I just get that stuff? Like, even just selfishly for me, like if nobody else gets it, other trainers are coming in and they don't know what this shit is. It's like, yeah, it's a hamstring curl, it's a back machine, it's a leg press. I get it and I'm happy. And it doesn't cost that much more other than the work to know what those pieces are and the work to track them down. And that's what I did. So that's how it evolved. And obviously the initial concept was going to be just for trainers. that way, like we stay in our own lane. I'm not trying to compete with every gym in Boston. It's there's a real need for trainers to have a home. As the commercial gyms ate up the mom and pops. The mom and pops you used to be able to work a deal with, as Jose, you've been doing this a while. You could go in, pay them some monthly fee, or not pay them, and in exchange bring a lot of attention to the gym and bring memberships or whatever the deal was. Those are gone. Those opportunities are gone, and all the commercial gyms are really like they're a good place to start when you get your certification. You've never trained anybody, but they're not a place for you and I to work, when someone's been doing it for a while. So there was a need to have a place where experienced independent trainers can run their own business. And as I was posting about all the machines that I was just buying crazy pieces, everyone in the fitness community was like, bro, I have to be able to train there. And initially the answer was no. And I'm like, I'm stupid to turn away a demand if there is something there. So that's when we did the just pay per visit model. Use it as much or as little as you want. There's no monthly fee. There's no contracts, no commitment. Just come in when you need it. We've got people that come once a week for leg day. We've got people that train here 4 days a week. And that's what it's turned into now. We have a mix of independent trainers running their business, and that's growing by the week. And then obviously the base of people that are like, man, Boston needed this, a place with great equipment and the environment where guys like yourself are in there. And you have, you can talk about this weekend. What's your friend's name that flew in from Florida?
Melissa.
I'll tell you a real quick story is, last night I spoke at Northeastern to their weightlifting clubs, bodybuilding clubs, men and women. There's probably like 60 people or so in the room. And one of the girls pulled me aside afterwards, who comes to the gym every weekend. And she was like, she couldn't stop talking about Melissa. She met her on Saturday. This girl, Gabby, and was like, that was the coolest experience I've ever had, because at Northeastern, I'm the biggest girl. I'm the jacked girl, and people kind of make fun of me for being so muscular. And now I see Melissa, and she's incredible. Like, so she was super inspired, right? To be at a place where someone of your level is training someone of Melissa's level, and that's right in front of you, and they can talk to you and learn from you.
Yeah. I was going to touch on the fact that you had people that are training 3, 4, 5 times a week, and it's still cheaper than Equinox in lifetime.
Yeah.
It's a great deal. I think it's huge. In a lot of the trainers that had no idea about this equipment are really in love with the stuff. They come in and it's pain-free, mechanically, it's perfect equipment, meaning that you feel the right muscle. These pieces are incredible. That you don't have to rearrange the machine or your positioning to get the right feel for it. You can just sit in it, and right away, you did a great job at getting all this stuff in here. And
that was kind of a variable. Like, look, you and I get it, right? And you were instrumental in training with you at the old Greater Boston Fitness. And you have certain machines that you go, oh wow, this feels better. And then when it goes away, right? And what's left for me sorry, dog's licking himself over here. What's left for me is Equinox and Boston Sports Club that has very run-of-the-mill stuff where they're buying the entire line from Matrix or wherever. And you realize, like, or you go to a Planet Fitness, like, man, most of this new stuff, the economy line, at least for these gyms, are terrible. And they break down all the time. Biomechanically, they're terrible. But like it doesn't matter, because like if you're a Planet Fitness franchise owner, and I have several friends that own multiple, they're like, our members don't get this. They don't understand it. They don't need this stuff. Like like nobody cares. And so
they think they don't need it.
Right.
Because they don't know any better.
Right. So that was one of my things when I was doing this. I really thought, I was like, I don't think anybody's going to get the equipment, but whatever. Right. Like, it's still a leg extension, a hamstring curl, a leg press. As far as they're concerned, it's what they had at their old gym. But for the few of us that get it, we'll be really happy. That was all I thought. But no, you're exactly right. Is these people come in and are like, wow, this leg press is so unbelievably smooth. This is so much better. This seated hamstring curl, I've never felt anything like this. This row, hits a part of my back I've never felt before. And so they're getting it, which is really exciting to see. And you're not only the trainers are saying this, the clients are saying it, right? That have no conception of this stuff. They're just saying, I feel these machines more than I've ever felt anything.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great thing. There's nothing else like it. Very unique spot. You know, you walk in, you'd never know it was there. It's a lot bigger than you would ever think. You know, it's a yeah. You walk beautiful old building, and then you go through a set of doors, and boom, everyone who walks in does the same thing. Like, whoa, no idea. It's so
Right, right.
cool. I
That's
love
and
it.
part of it is like, I kind of don't want walk-ins. Like we're really not the gym where somebody's walking around downtown Boston. Eventually we'll have a sign and all that, but I'm in no rush. I'm in no rush to have the signage. Like we're deeded to it, and I just have to call a sign company and have it made. But I'm also like, I know what that's going to do is that's going to bring in every Tom, Dick, and Harry off the street. That's like, oh, I go to Equinox. I'm just, I go to Planet Fitness. Let me see your gym. And it puts me in a weird place to justify like what our thing is, right? When someone doesn't get it, it's pointless. Like
Right.
they come in, they see a mix of new machines with some machines from the 90s and a lot of fit people training. Like if that doesn't appeal to you, I'm not going to waste any time giving you a pitch of why you should come here. So
Right.
we've had some walk-ins lately, and I get a read on the person real quick, and I'm just like, so this is what we're about. This may not at all be what you're looking for. We're not a gym to just come in and do cardio 5 nights a week and walk on the treadmill and do a few machines and sit on your phone, and like, not us. Every other gym in town you can do that. Like when you're here to work hard, whatever that is. You don't have to be a bodybuilder, you don't have to be a strongman or a power lifter. You can be in your first month of training, but you want to come in and have the blinders on and like, I'm here to get something done. This is my plan for today. And that's the environment that's around you.
So in your first month of business, are you happy with the way things are going? Are
Yeah.
there,
Yeah. So the, we're already, I guess the term would be cash flow positive in terms of what our expenses are, which is all you can ask for, right? Like it's, certainly I have big ambitions, and I want to get a lot more trainers working here. And just from yesterday to today, I had 4 trainers reach out to me, like just unsolicited. I've been hearing about this from other trainers. How does it work? When can I come and see the spot? So that's what I want to grow more of. It's way more lucrative for me, and it's way easier to manage to get one trainer who's going to train 20 hours a week, which is paying for 2 people. Those 20 hours are really 40 hours a week, right?
yeah,
Rather than get somebody to come in and work out twice a week. I need a lot of those people.
right,
So I'd rather have 20 trainers in here training 20 hours a week and manage 20 people and have the spillover be the like local fitness community,
right.
rather than having to like push and promote this gym to people. I'd rather have it be like it's filled with trainers who are here doing their work, great trainers taking this seriously, getting their clients results. And then the rest of the people have to like fight to get their spot to come in and work out. That's kind of how I envision this, as opposed to a few trainers working and it kind of being a shit show of random members coming in. But
And where can
to answer your first your question, I mean, I'm ecstatic in terms of I've done no promotion for this. Like
right,
there's been no, it was like, as I'm just trying to get the gym together, it was like, let's build it, let's set it up, and then we'll come up with a marketing plan. I haven't had to yet because of everyone that comes here is emphatically posting about it, stories and posts, and everyone that comes is doing 5 or 6 stories of every machine they're doing, of like, never seen this before. When we had the pros here, dude, I added up the followings of the people that were here, of like the 30 pros, and it was somewhere in the 15 to 20 million follower mark.
right.
And
That doesn't hurt.
yeah, right. And they were all making posts, like
Yeah,
Milo Sarshev made a post. They made a couple posts about the gym and how great it was. And obviously Jay's podcast talking to Milos about the gym, and um man, like,
Regan, Urs.
yeah, all of them making posts. Maureen and Isa and Urishna all made posts about the gym, and a lot of the men's physique guys. And you can't even buy that, because if you bought it, it wouldn't be authentic, right? It
Right.
would look like I'm doing cameos and paying people to, come in and be like, Nate's gym is great.
Yeah.
It was so authentic. It was like, this is just where they came. I didn't
Oh
pay
yeah.
them. I didn't ask them for anything. This was just the spot to come and train. So that part, man, I'm ecstatic about, because, as much as I want to have a successful business and make money, being like loving the gym, loving bodybuilding, I want to have like the credible spot to go, and I don't want to be the one to tell you this is the best gym in town. I want everyone else to say it's the best gym in town, and that's what it felt like that week.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the old adage of do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life. That's a similar concept here is you built something that you absolutely love, and you weren't thinking necessarily how much anyone else is going to love it, and that's exactly what's happening. I see people, there's hundreds of people that still want to come see the place. Every single day. I'm on the North Shore, and I see people every day that are asking me about the gym, and when they're going to go and see it and how to go about it. Which reminds me, how do people who don't know reach you and to inquire about the gym?
Yeah, so probably there's Gym Hub Boston, which is the Instagram page, or the website is My Gym Hub, and we're just a make a reservation, like pay per visit, like a day pass gym. So use it as little or as much as you want. You just go on, you reserve your time. One of the selling points of the gym is we cap the gym floor to 20 people. So when it hits 20, you can't make a reservation, and that's about the number where it's busy, but you can use everything. You can still train. It's never you have to wait for a bench, you have to wait for a squat rack. So that's important to us, is that anytime anybody comes here, it's never going to be so crowded that you can't lift, right? And someone drives in from the suburbs to get their workout in on a Saturday, and they go like, well, this sucks. There's 50 people in here. I can't lift. So we cap it at 20, which is the point of the reservations, so that anytime you have a reservation, you're going to get a good workout. So yeah, Gym Hub Boston is the IG page. mygymhub.com is the website. So easy enough there. So I was going to ask you, Jose, we didn't get to it last time. What are a couple of the standout memories for you of all of the pros being here? Because you were around for several of those days when everyone was here.
Oh yeah, yeah. Many. I mean, getting to hang out with Jay, as you said, is always great. Jay's not only Jay, but when the camera's not on, he's hilarious. Some of the things he says, he always says something to kind of shock you.
I
And then
always assumed
Urs,
he was like totally politically correct across the board, and you're like, no, that's just when the camera's on.
yeah, exactly. And Urs, and then getting to talk to Isa and her boyfriend, her husband, and Yurishna. A lot of these people, I've seen them or met them briefly through the years, but this time I got to actually sit and talk to them in the gym, and a different type of environment where they had their guard down and they were just training and not all done up and dolled up and quote unquote on, where they're at an event, they have to be smiling and at their best behavior. They were just relaxed and chill, and it's great to be able to see people in that environment. There was a whole crew of them. Ryan Terry was in there,
Yep.
hanging out. Everyone was playing with Rocky.
Yeah.
Rocky's the gym mascot.
There's a whole montage of all of these pros, right? Like, one of the cool things, besides them just being in the gym, they had their videographers for YouTube, for Instagram, like their content creators. So now there's all these YouTube videos popping up, and in everybody's video, it's Rocky like licking their calf, or like, like Urs was hitting a back double bicep and Rocky's licking his calf as he's doing it.
Yeah, there was one with you licking his arm. That was weird. But yeah. So let's quickly talk about some of the competitors in the upcoming new Jay Cutler Classic.
Yeah,
We
yeah. I've got some
are
questions for you too after that we can kind of do a Q&A.
we're a week and a half out, and we've been seeing everyone showing up, and it's so awesome to see the group of guys that are competing day in and day out, or just on the weekends, and you get to see that change they're making on a weekly basis, and we're getting to see them all pose for us, and it's really transformation of these guys and girls, of their confidence getting better. Just a few weeks ago when we saw Mariana Gomez, it's Gomez, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ivan, in my head I was like, oh boy, they're I don't know, they're gonna kind of rush this prep. But now as I'm seeing them both, they look incredible.
Yeah.
Like Mariana has a legit shot at winning that show.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
question.
And certainly
Ivan's
like
new to it.
pro potential, going forward, doing
Oh,
great things.
yeah, because she, one, she loves it. Two, she's genetically blessed. She's got the skin. She's got everything. So I'm excited for her, for both of them.
Yep.
And there's a whole slew of other ones that are first timers or fairly new, that are either going to get
There's
a
a
big
lot of people, like even for, I think Mariana, I could be wrong, but I think this is her second show. And there's a lot of people that if it's not their first show, it's their second show. Like for Stan, who you're helping, right? Is this Stan's second show?
I think so. I think he did. Yeah, he did the New England's in the December or November,
November, yep.
and he already looks better than he was then.
Yep.
And I think he either won or placed really well in his class in December.
Yep.
So yeah, he's going to do well. It's really exciting. There's such good energy in the gym when they're all in there, and it's such a great spot because you have North Shore people and South Shore people meeting at the halfway point.
Yeah, it really was separate, right? Like when Greater Boston Fitness was open, that was the North Shore spot for people training for shows. And obviously South Shore would be, way South General Fitness, but other than that, Bay Shore, right? And
Yeah.
So you're right. It is. I was just thinking about that, especially this past Saturday, where you were having people back to back to back that are all doing shows. I have a few people that I'm helping pose that were coming in back to back, and we're putting them all together in a room, posing with each other. It's really cool to see that. Like, I don't have any recollection of just my few short years of being in the scene here, of seeing that somewhere with that many competitors under one roof who don't even know each other. Like, they're becoming friends in the gym. Which will
Very
obviously
supportive.
make a lot more fun.
Yeah, for sure. It's no, you're right. There, some of the other gyms, there would be the occasional visit, but because this is much more convenient meeting spot, and it's not just your everyday a commercial gym, we're getting way more people in there. That are specific to the fitness industry. It's really good to see. And then, don't kid yourself. The fact that they seen, Yarishna on Instagram, they definitely have been nudged to come here.
Right. So here's a question I have off of you. It was something that, came up last night in Northeastern, and something I was going to ask you anyway, is as you get into show season, we're seeing certainly a lot of people in the gym recently that look awesome. They're going to kill it at this show. They're going to bring their best look and will hopefully place really well. And then there'll obviously be people that aren't ready for the show, right? For whatever reason, right? Whether it's you and I might not agree with the coach's style of giving them burgers every week, or they probably shouldn't even be doing this show, and they should be looking at shows way later on, but the coach isn't stepping up to say, like, there's no way we're going to be ready. So, one of the things I was asked last night is, what should be the process of doing your first show? And I guess I'd ask you, because you're probably asked this all the time by people who would like to compete, is, when do you know you're ready? Like, what are you looking for as a coach? If somebody's coming to you saying, I may want to do a show, what are you looking for to say, like, yes, I'll work with you, or no, like mentally you're not in the right place, financially you're not in the right place. Like, there's a lot of variables here, right, that can
Yeah.
play into having a smooth prep. Can you talk a little bit about maybe somebody's choice to do a show, or when they should not do a show?
Well, the most important thing is to get in shape. You can always work and eventually put on some more muscle. You can always get better at your presentation. Let's not get crazy. It's not that expensive. I mean, I was competing as a teenager with $0. So as long as you can get in shape, as long as you can afford tuna fish, egg whites, and some rice cakes, you're good. You can get it done, but you have to be in shape. That's the thing, and that is the most common misconception. You look around and guys are like, "Oh, I'm ripped." No, you're not. You're really not. You're not in contest condition. And
Now, do you think
one,
that's because they haven't been to a show? Like, why do you think that is? When like, they might be ripped for their gym, right? For their LA Fitness,
right.
they're ripped. Do you think it's they just don't have any idea of what ripped is, or why do you think that is?
It's a combination of things. Yeah, they've never been to a show, so they don't know really what to expect. Some of them are just plain delusional, and some of them, yeah, are in the best shape of all their buddies, but they're not in real contest shape yet. Not to the point where they're going to do any significant damage. And then there's other guys who don't have great structure, but they're peeled, and that's going to go push them a long way.
Yep.
So to me, that's the most important thing: is be able to get in shape, seek out someone who knows what they're talking about, that will be honest with you. I don't mind you coming in slightly off and trying to be competitive just to learn and see what it's all about. But don't go in with the idea that I'm going to win when you've never done a show before.
Right, right.
It
This is another,
certainly happens, but
in
it's
the
rare.
same line. This was a question that was asked to me last night at Northeastern. Is, how does somebody go about knowing if they have the right coach?
Well, ask questions, but again, ask people who know what they're talking about. Someone who's been around. Don't ask a 21-year-old kid who's not done anything. He did one show. Seek out some of the names within the industry that you know of that's been around. If they don't answer you, find someone local. It's not that hard to find out if someone knows what they're talking about. I always seeked out the correct information. I always knew, even when I didn't know much about it. I knew certainly if someone knew, you could tell by looking at someone. But that's also can be deceiving,
Right.
because there are people who are shredded and have no idea how they got there.
Right, right. Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good question. It really is. How do you know who to ask?
I mean, all my answer to that is certainly you need to talk to the people that have worked with them, right? You have to do some due diligence. And it's
Right.
like, if I wanted to hire a business coach to take my gym to the next level, I want to find somebody that's repeatedly helped other gyms, right? That's helped 20 gyms take them from 20K a month to 100K a month. And I want to talk to those owners that say they were absolutely instrumental in putting the systems in place to, that's what I want. I don't want to hear somebody promise me what they can do. I need to see the results that you've already done. Like, what you're trying to tell me you can do for me, I need to see that you've done over and over and over before. And I'm number 21 or 31 or 51 in that cycle, not number one.
Right. Right. Another important thing, slightly off topic, is learn how to train properly. There's so much misinformation out there. I was watching a video yesterday of a guy doing a proper pull down in front of him and saying that was incorrect, but that you should pull back like this to your upper chest. And I'm like, I want to comment so bad and say you couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah.
The way that you were showing was incorrect is actually the way you actually engage your lats,
Yeah.
not the other way. So there's so much false information out there that it's hard. And I want to be like, dude, I don't know everything. I don't claim to know everything. Certainly don't come for me for relationship advice. But if you want to know about training, I can definitely tell you and answer a question quite simply. And I mean, there are misconceptions every day. I was training Elena yesterday, and we were doing straight leg dumbbell deadlifts, and you know, her hips were going back every rep like this, you know, how you see people, and I'm like, see if you can keep your hips perfectly straight as you do it, rather than you know your butt going back.
Yep.
She's like, oh my god, you know, everything you see is people tell you let your butt go back away from you.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
well, you tell me. You know,
Right.
how do you feel your hamstrings and glutes when you do it this way opposed to that way? And she's like, oh, it's no comparison. I'm like, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, there are so many misconceptions. Or how about when squatting, don't let your knees go over your toes. So, I mean, is that even possible? You would fall backwards
Yeah.
if your knees didn't go slightly over your toes.
Right.
You know, it's just bizarre to me the simple things that people don't know, and then they go and repeat it on Instagram like they're some influencer and know what they're talking about.
Well, and I think another thing you've seen firsthand, I've watched you, people who are getting ready for shows come to you, and maybe they're working with somebody else, but they're like, I want Jose to take a look at me and I want to do a session because I heard he's a good trainer. And you smoke them in like 30 minutes. Right. And so the response is always like, what have these people been doing? Like what have they been doing for training? Like, you're not even going there with like a vendetta trying to kill them. You're just doing normal stuff, meaning like 60 to 90 seconds rest between a set, an occasional drop set. And they're looking at you like, you know, like it's a sick joke or something. Like, you know, what is going on here? Because they're used to these 5-minute rest between sets, go and talk to some buddies, eventually do another set. You know, they're just keeping up a normal pace is just exhausting them.
Yeah. Well, the most important thing is there's a difference between lifting weights and weight training. You know, these people haven't been training. You're going to make some results, especially if you have good genetics and you're eating enough. You're going to get some results. But if you're not isolating your muscles, the muscle groups that you're training to the fullest extent, you know, then you're just kind of working out and you'll kind of get results. You know, you need to go in there, and most people train or spend too much time in the gym in the first place. You know, my workouts are short to the point, and you're done within 60 minutes, absolutely done. And that's the way it should be. You know, you're blasting that muscle. So that's what I try to do, is teach people how to use their muscles properly. Some people do, but they don't know how to get the fullest out of them, out of those workouts.
Yeah.
You know, they'll kind of feel their quads, but when we do a leg extension, you're going to feel it top to bottom, side to side. Every last bit of your quad is going to be sore the next day if you've never done it properly. So yeah, that's what most of them just don't know any better. They think they're working hard. They're resting too long.
Yeah.
They're dicking around, getting on their phone, getting into in-depth conversations between sets, and just not going about it the most efficient way possible. So when they come to me and they're paying me a lot of money, they're going to get an efficient workout in that time. There's not a minute that goes by that we're not either stretching, doing the exercise, or planning to do the exercise, or teaching them how to do it. And I make them watch me so they can see exactly what I'm talking about. And, you know, every workout is, you know, this has been the most fun I've had in a long time, because I'm training with athletes or competitors that are very excited and intense and want to get the best out of their workouts. It's not, I'm not just training a housewife to lose some weight,
Right, right.
It's, these people want to get the most out of every minute they got. So it's been awesome. And I absolutely love what I do. And this is making me, people are like, oh, you miss competing? I miss competing, but I tell you what, I love helping people and opening their eyes. You see a light bulb go off when they do a certain exercise the right way. And it's the simplest little adjustments, and it makes a huge difference. So it's been awesome. I hope we get more there and more trainers in there. I want to train some more trainers because
Yeah.
I see trainers all day long,
Yeah.
not utilizing their time efficiently to the best of their ability. Anyone can be a trainer. It's not that difficult. You can get a certification. Yeah. And you can do that over the weekend, and that makes you a trainer, but that doesn't make you know what you're doing necessarily. So, yeah. No,
So talking about intensity, another question, I texted you this last night because it made me chuckle, but it's what's on, the YouTube videos where you have people that are the science nerds, right? Of like cutting edge research. This new study says this is the best way to train. A kid last night asked me about this is the new phrase reps in reserve, right? Actually, he didn't even say reps in reserve. It took me a second. He was like, he said, so what's your thought on RIR? Right. It was like in military lingo where people are using all the abbreviated stuff and you're supposed to know. And it took me a second, but I was like, I'm assuming he's talking about that. And he's like, the studies show that you should leave between 2 to 3 reps RIR. What do you think is the optimal number of reps in reserve to leave? Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 4? And I'm like, 0. You're like, train your ass off, right? And my response to him was like, you might think you're training hard, you're not. There's so many levels above what you're doing now. Right. So even if when you think you're training to failure, you probably have a few more reps that you don't even know about. So you training to failure is leaving reps in reserve.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I've never heard of that term.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's a lot of these like Instagram PhD people like Dr. Mike Israetel and the Lane Nortons, not Lane specifically, but that kind of crowd, right? That have PhDs that comment on hypertrophy and muscle building. And this is the latest study. And I don't know if it's Dr. Mike Israetel or someone else in that circle that it made its rounds so much so that like Jordan Peters for like a month or two was like, okay, if the science says this, I'm going to train this way. I know what absolute failure is. Obviously, Jordan Peters trains his ass off, very, very heavy, perfect execution. Yeah. And he left 2 reps in reserve. And over the course of a month, not only was it really unfulfilling mentally for him when you're used to training a certain way, he lost muscle. It just wasn't working for him. He gave it a shot, followed the program, and went back and continued to make progress. So when someone asks you, you get a college kid, right? Some skinny kid that's 140 pounds, wants to get big, and they ask you something like that, or asking you about training intensity. What's your explanation to them of how they should be training?
I say there's too many variables to truly follow some study. When I know I've been doing this for over 30 years and I've seen the true results, I have my own study that tells me otherwise. And there's no such thing as reps in reserve. Sure, you may pyramid up. If we're doing, say you're squatting and you do 135, I'm not going to do 60 reps to go to failure. I'll do 10 to 12, put 2 plates on, 10 to 12, 3 plates on, 10 to 12. And then the last few sets, 4 or 5 plates, I'm going to go until I can't go. Now, I'm not going to, if I feel like I struggled to get rep 7, I'm not going for rep 8. But, you go until you're done, and that's what some of these great machines are for. Yeah. You can really go to failure, legit failure on machines.
Yep.
And then you can have someone help you get some forced reps. but yeah, there's, again, I would have to see someone train. That's why I hate writing out workouts, because I can't see how you're executing these workouts, each exercise. And even the term going to failure is a weird thing, because when is failure? If you're doing pull downs and you're able to do this, and then all of a sudden you're just getting it to here, I'm like, you're still moving.
Yeah.
You're still contracting that muscle. So sometimes I'll let people go until they're just like this.
Yeah.
It depending on the and how safe that exercise is. I would never, necessarily with overhead dumbbell presses or anything where weight can land on your face, or you can collapse with the barbell on your back. Yeah, I'm a little more careful with that stuff, but the difference. That's all I can say is the difference. And spend some time looking at videos, asking questions, save some money and hire a trainer, even if it's only once or twice or a couple of times for that body part that you specifically need help in. If you need help doing your chest, because you're not doing it right, you're doing all shoulder presses and you're using shoulder and tricep, try to learn how to isolate each muscle group properly. And there's no 100% one way to do anything, but there is a 100% intensity level that you have to get to. And a lot of people don't get there.
Yeah.
Sure.
So with the Cutler now about a week and a half away, and certainly we'll have, some of the local people, and I'm sure lots of people watching this who have some show coming up. What advice do you have for these competitors being, a week and a half out, a week out, 3 days out?
Well, hopefully you've done the work 16 weeks ago, to get yourself in the proper spot right now. All you can do is dig deep. Right now, at a week and a half out, I would be very low carb, trying to excrete all the last bit of fat and water in my body, and working hard with the last few workouts and the last cardio sessions. And by now your face should be sucked in. Mariana, her face is crazy, how much it changed in the last month.
Yep.
A lot of these people are. I'm excited to see some guys tomorrow that are coming in.
Yep.
Just do all the little things. Take care of your skin. This is a really underrated thing. Take care of your skin. Make sure your color is coming in good. If you're someone who can do that, and you have no predisposed issues, you should be tanning, getting your tan down. Posing, working on your presentation as much as possible. But ultimately, as a judge, I say I want condition. I will always take condition over God-given shape. If the God-given shape guy is way off, and the guy who's slightly not as pretty but way harder, I will go with the better conditioned guy. I mean, otherwise there's no sport in it. Otherwise it's just a pageant, and you're looking at the guy with the best genetics, he wins automatically always. But no, there is a slight chance that the guy with lesser genetics put in more effort and he can win. There's a good possibility of that. So I'm open-minded when I'm looking at a lineup. I'm willing to give that guy who's dug out harder a shot in front of someone who's blessed more but didn't put in the work.
Yeah. How do you expect the turnout will be? Any word from Steve or Jay so far? Obviously,
I spoke to Steve last week.
Yep.
And he was asking me, he's like, what do you think? I think it's going to be clearly better than December.
Yeah.
And that was a great turnout.
Yep. Because there was still doubt that show was happening, right? Given Boston and all the mandates we had. Yeah. A lot of people were scared to start a prep because, it's so much work. And if the show gets canceled, it's devastating. But it's clear this show's going to happen, right? Whereas there was some doubt last November, December.
Yeah. I think they had between 250 and 300 with crossovers in December.
Okay.
I think they're going to come close to doubling that. I
Yeah.
would say 400, 450, maybe even more.
Yep.
I think this is going to be really, really good. And I think the venue is awesome. I think they can hold it. You know, people are kind of thrown off by it being in Lynn, but I think as long as it doesn't rain again,
Right.
the
Flooded street.
yeah, yeah. And that was kind of a one-off because a lot of the leaves were still stuck in the drain.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I think it's going to be really good. I think there's plenty of parking in the area. It's going to be good.
Yeah, I think
I'm
just from
excited.
the people that have been coming into my gym, there's a few people that live further away that I know are doing it. I think it's going to be a real stacked show, and we already know there's lots of great competitors. I think it absolutely more people and a higher caliber of people than the New England's last year.
Without a question. You know, typically the Cutler is always better because the New England's is the end of the year. The Cutler, you can qualify and then take time off before getting ready for the Nationals.
Right.
So
you have like junior USAs, right, which is several weeks after the Cutler.
Yeah.
And a little after that is Universe, and you have sort of the whole rest of the year, the whole line of pro qualifiers lined up.
Right.
Yep.
So a lot of people will qualify at the Cutler and then take a short break and then gear up for the USAs.
Yep.
So it's the best show of the year that we have in the New England area as far as quality and numbers. So I suspect it's going to be awesome. I know I have a bunch of guys that are peeled, like in great condition, that are fairly new, you know, that have only done one or two shows or no shows. That kid Andrew, the bald kid Andrew, oh my God, he gets so crazy shredded.
Yep.
Last year I prepped him and then the show was canceled and he kept going and we just did it for a photo shoot. And he was probably one of the most peeled people I've ever seen.
Wow.
Like striated triceps all the way through. He didn't even know it. You know, he put on trunks just to do some photos in the trunks. He had striated glutes all the way down to his hamstrings. I'm like, dude, you're crazy. And now he's got 10 more pounds.
That's impressive, right? Because not a lot of people would suffer that much when there's not a show.
That's why I know he can be good.
Yeah.
He's gonna be crazy. And Big John is massive. He's down to 240 now, 249 and striated quads, everything. So I get excited like a little kid, you know, watching these guys posing and getting ready and the excitement in their eyes. And,
it's funny. I haven't been at this that long, but it's like still nostalgic for me, you know, of having done the Cutler and knowing what that felt like and the anxiety, because this is a really big show for the New England area. You know, it's the biggest show, you know, potentially. And one of the biggest shows in the area, maybe short of like Atlantic States, you know, down in the New York, New Jersey area, of just historically people that have won it have gone on to turn pro. And so I see everybody nervous, you know, like wondering who their competition is going to be, wondering if they're ready, but still working their ass off. So it's a fun time because I remember being there, you know, that energy of you're giving it all you got and you hope it's going to be enough, but you're not sure. And you know, you're going into a big show. It's one thing, like some of these people had done shows before and it was smaller shows, but now they're stepping up to this one and that you never know who's going to show up, right? This is notorious for somebody comes out of the blue, and these are like, you have both ways. You have people that just are hoping to just requalify. You know, you might have like a Matt Puglia or these people that have won this show over and over again, and they need to qualify again to go on to a national show. And then also you have genetic freaks that come out of nowhere. No one's ever heard of them. No one's ever seen them. And you go like, where the hell did this person come from? You know, men and women where they're like, they're going to be pro. And it might even be their first show and they're ridiculous.
The other biggest piece of advice I could say is don't worry about other people.
Yeah.
You know, women tend to do this more than men, is they'll look at bikini girls on Instagram and they're like, oh my God, look at this girl. I'm like, so what?
Yeah.
you'll beat her. It doesn't matter. What someone else is doing has no bearing on how you're going to do it. So you have to focus on all the little things day in and day out that you got to do. That's one of the things I miss most about competing is all the minutia of bodybuilding, of just day in and day out, the little things that I had to do. It made my life so regimented that there was no room to do anything else.
Yeah.
And
Keeps you out of trouble. You have no room
yeah,
to
yeah,
get in any
exactly.
trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. So one last thing, when is Nate going to get on stage? We
And so I'm back to training. I get the food and you see me trying to.
was at the end of the summer.
Yeah, we were looking. So the issue is we were talking like September, October, right? So I'm back to training. I'm going to go train chest right after this. I got my pre-workout here. I got my Dunkin' Donuts muffin here for the Jose
Oh,
Raymond muffin pumps. So training's going well. I'm shoveling the food down. I think I weighed myself 2 days ago and I was 229 out of bed. I dipped obviously all of the work in getting this gym going and sort of just allowing myself to say gym comes first, the people in here come first. My workouts were getting interrupted left and right. I'd start a workout and someone would walk in and say, I'm here to find out about the gym, and I'd scrap the workout and I'd miss meals. And so I dropped down to like 215 and I was pissed at myself because, I still have big ambitions to do this and do this well and come out and do a pro show and be dramatically
215. You were 206 on stage.
Yeah.
The last show.
Wow. Yeah. So, so right now I'm back in gear. Now I'm at that point where there's no excuses. I'm blocking off time to train every day. I'm blocking off time to eat between clients. That was my other issues. I'd have some days 5-6 clients back to back to back, and at best drink a shake between them. And now I'm like, somebody's moving back 30 minutes. Like that's it, like take it or leave it. Otherwise I'm not training you. And they work with me, and I just had to say no. And I just had to ask to move people around. So, as you had said, was the goal is to get to a lean 235 and hold it and just sit at that weight and maybe recomp at that weight for a little bit. And, then see what shows around. The only issue is that when we looked end of the year, September, October is, they're all overseas. Like the US shows just stop. I think the last one is the Texas Pro in August.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like the Japan Pro, something in Spain. Everything's kind of all about the Olympia at that point. It's just the overseas shows. So I guess we'll see. Certainly it's about putting the work in and making improvements and I'd love to compete this year, if it's feasible. But if worst case scenario, I just train my ass off and sit at 235 and get leaner and leaner at that weight, and I got to do something next year, then I'll be better for that next year. But I'd like to do this year if I can.
I personally don't think Texas is out of the question.
Okay.
There's enough time for you to, you're big right now and you don't know it. You're the rare person that can get leaner and fuller as we go.
Yeah.
While dieting. So that's not out of the question. So everyone stay tuned.
Yeah.
We will be giving updates. Hopefully we'll do this sooner than a month and a half later.
And Jose, no Masters Olympia for you in the future?
No. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm just staying in shape, staying in decent shape. My skin's thin. I'm somewhat, I had those cortisone injections in both shoulders about 3 weeks ago, almost a month now. And I still feel pretty good. So, that's key for me. I just want to feel good and be able to train somewhat pain-free and be healthy and help everyone else.
Yeah.
My time is come and gone, long gone. I should have stopped before I did. I should have, after the 2015 Olympia, I should have called it quits then. I went on to win 2 more shows and placed top 3 at the Olympia again, I think 2 more times, but it wasn't me. You know what I mean? I wasn't my best after 2015. So, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. Now I'm here for you, Nate. That's it.
Well,
I can live
everybody's
vicariously.
it's obviously I sing your praises in throwing people your way, and I'm excited. It's been the best part for me being in this gym, seeing you with these kids, because they're transforming. Like what you did with me in a matter of a couple of years, where I transformed and got a pro card, which never seemed achievable. I had no ambitions to compete, obviously, as we've talked about before. I hadn't even thought about that, nor did I think I could remotely even win a local show. So that process, I'm starting to see some of these other people once they go through the training sessions. And first they have that look like, Jeff Sue, where it's like, what the fuck just happened to me? Is it always like this? That panic. And then you either level up or you don't. And all these kids, I give them props, even Jeff Sue puking every week. He comes back
Every week.
Every week he pukes.
Yeah.
And
but man,
he comes back and he knows what he's signing up for, and shows up every week. And prior to having his appendix out, that 6 or 8 weeks he worked with you was the most I've ever seen him transform. It was the most progress I've ever seen out of him since I've followed him. So
he was getting bigger, rounder, harder, in well over 200 pounds.
So that's the exciting thing is, we talk about reps in reserve and all of the science. We're seeing everything anecdotally here with you working with people of what proper training, certainly obviously you help them with the nutrition, which is very important. But I feel like with you, that foundation is proper training. If that wasn't there, these changes wouldn't be happening, as people are not only the way that you switch the order up of pre-exhausting muscles and warming things up properly, and the speed at which they're training and the level of failure that they're hitting of triple drops, and they're doing things they wouldn't even conceive of doing, like it was out of the realm of what they would do. And you see them progress, week after week, and being able to hang a little bit more each week. And with that, their body's dramatically changing, and obviously the biggest one, well, we can save this for another day to talk about at length, but your boy Yuman, who's absolutely some waves at the New York Pro, that's one of the biggest changes I've seen. And you're talking about a guy who's been at this, 15 years?
Oh yeah.
Like that's it would be one thing for you to take somebody that's, I guess even though you started with me and I was older, 37, I was still kind of newbie, right? Because I hadn't been training like a bodybuilder. So now that I did everything right, my body grew. Yuman's been training for a really long time with top pros, right? He was Flex Lewis's workout partner for a while. And I've never seen somebody change so fast to being a guy that was a pro and was gonna, be a little bit in the mix, but you could kind of pick him apart and say he's a little weak here, this is a little off, to now saying this guy's deadly.
Oh yeah. Well, he just needed a nudge. Often, like a lot of people, he needed someone to believe in him, someone that he trusts. And that's big, that's important. Every day he says to me, all right, I trust you. He needed to trust someone to do these little things. I can't get into too specific, but even the training, when he came up and trained with me, there was certain things that he'd be like, what, we're going to do that? I'm like, yeah, just try. And then he loved it, and he's like, this old man is burying me doing arms.
Right. I was watching that. You are like barely training, right? Like, old man testosterone levels now, and and you're crushing him in it. He wasn't used to training that way. He was I took a picture. He was like bent over on the floor in his
doing arms. But he's
right, an arm workout.
He's learning, and he's incorporating that style into his training, which is very visible. He's doing all the extra things. He's motivated. He's got someone in his corner that he trusts and that believes in him. I think he's going to win, no question. We're doing 2 shows, the Indy in New York. I would not be surprised if he won both.
Yeah,
he's that good.
This is for anyone listening who doesn't know, we're talking about Yuman Eden. You find him on
Look him up.
That name. Yep.
Yeah, he's a freak. He's been posting some progress pictures. he's 6 weeks out right now, or 5.5 weeks out, and he looks just about ready. It's crazy. So I'm excited for him. But
Yeah,
on that
he,
note,
I
we'll get
mean,
back
when
to
I
it.
competed with him, you know, he was always the guy that I'm like, how is he making 198? And he's certainly going to be the guy that people are questioning how he made 212, given how wide and how big he is.
Oh yeah, I sent that front lat spread to Aceto, and he's like, very Lee Haney like.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah, yeah,
said
yeah,
that. He said he
yeah,
looks like an open bodybuilder
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because he's not short.
No,
I mean, he's
5'8", right?
5'8".
Yep.
Yeah, he's 224 in those morning picks. So we got 12 pounds in 5.5 weeks, which is nothing.
Yep. I'm excited. I
He's gonna
look forward
smoke.
to being at the New York show to see him win.
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
All
Jose.
right, Nate.
Always good to catch
Good
up with
man.
you.
Good
We'll see you
seeing
again
you.
in a month and a half.